This video is brought to you by Machinations. Machinations is the game balancing platform that can let you map your entire game, then run simulations to balance its parameters. But how do you know if you need Machinations? Well, if you're a game designer who's swamped with spreadsheets, text documents, and diagrams, Machinations will condense everything into a simpler to manage digital space. If you know that balancing a game is a cornerstone of great player experiences, Machinations will help you do it efficiently and effectively every time. If you want a reliable way to rapidly prototype without writing scrolls of code, Machinations lets you do that. The best part is you can even bring your whole team in to work with you thanks to live collaborative editing features that work just like Google Docs. Don't have the money to spend right now? Well, that's okay, because there's a free forever plan that still gets you really far. So why not head down to the description, click the personalized game coping link, and start designing your very own Machinations. I love theme parks. I always have. Even when I was a kid and I was too small to go on the big scary rides that I really wanted to go on and my brother would chicken out of, there was no better feeling of adventure like going to a theme park. Weirdly though, park management games have always kind of eluded me. I remember playing a Roller Coaster Tycoon game on PS2 and just having a terrible time as I tried to grapple with weirdly technical and scientific levels of detail when trying to create a coaster. However, a few months back, Planet Coaster became a free game for PS Plus subscribers, and I was super excited to give this genre another try. In a previous video I made all about designing video game worlds, I talked about how great a reference point theme parks can be when creating gaming worlds. I talked then about how the original concept for Disney World was built around a railway, with mini parks being stops along the way, all containing various themes and clusters of rides that had a different feel to the others in the park. If you think of these areas as worlds in a traditional game like Kirby or Mario, and each ride is a level, the theme park itself becomes the universe that the player explores. Only recently, however, did I realize that this metaphor actually goes way deeper and extends to the people working in a development studio as well. For example, there are engineers in a theme park who maintain each ride on a technical level, and you can compare them to gameplay programmers. The janitors who keep the pathways and visitor areas of the park clean and accessible are pretty similar to UI designers in a lot of ways as well. The accountants watching the park's coffers are the ones in charge of monetization, and the hired actors that keep guests entertained are just like in-game characters and NPCs. If you wanted to, you could also view a theme park as a singular level. A pathway starts guests or players at one end and guides them while they explore. By using things like lighting, framing, and conveyance, participants are compelled to travel to each area of the park. All in all, it's actually crazy how close-knit video games and theme parks really are. After all, they're both interactive, immersion-based experiences that are looking to excite and engage their participants. Surprise, surprise, when it came to playing Planet Coaster, I still sucked at making the roller coasters themselves. In fairness, I was never really good at physics at school, and as my girlfriend will tell you after helping me build a few rides, I'm not very good at compromising when the game tells me that my ride is too ambitious and will make people vomit. Like, seriously, that sounds like their problem. But on the other hand, the park management side of Planet Coaster is some of the most fun I've had in a game so far in 2022. A number of times I've actually had to check the clock and stop myself playing because this game has had me in a trance-like state, caring more about the grievances of my park guests than I do about bodily functions like eating. I got through one park, then the next, and it wasn't until I was hours deep that I realized what I just talked to you about. This is all game development. For the first time, I got a practical sense of what building and maintaining a great video game felt like. And it wasn't long before I was putting into practice all the things I'd researched from my videos for this channel to make the finest details of my theme parks as great as they could possibly be. So I started thinking a little bit deeper about if this was all in my head, or if this cutesy little park simulator actually had interesting lessons to teach people who want to get into game design. And sure, these lessons might be the bread and butter basics for veteran game designers, but for junior and aspiring designers, I'd say this game actually does a great job. So, after 10 hours and after theme parks have come and gone, here's what I came away with. The first design lesson this game gave me was about how important planning is when it comes to level and world design. First of all, I'd have a fly around my park and take stock. Most parks start with an outline or at least a couple of rides that give you a sense of some standout areas you can use. How can I make the most of them, I ask myself. What's a good area for flat rides? What's a good place to put the toilets in the staff quarters that have to use up some space? Once I had a rough layout, I was reserving spots in my head and laying down a central pathway that would guide people from one exciting thing to the next. In the first couple of parks, the problems start to pile up pretty quickly, almost to spite your grand plans. The toilets need to go somewhere, the guests are hungry, they need a place to sit down. Oh my god, do they ever stop complaining? Quickly enough, you learn the value of thorough planning in that initial scope out phase. And it's true of game design too. I've heard a lot of game designers talk about how, when they've learned to anticipate the problems ahead of time, suddenly things get a lot easier when playtesters come in and start picking holes in their work. Sometimes I'd lay down a new area and the guests just wouldn't be interested. Okay, I thought, back to the drawing board. Why don't they want to go there? What do I need to do to make that area just as strong as the area with the log flume ride? The answer was always nothing. Nothing in this game is ever as popular as the damn log flume ride. Now, let's address the giant elephant in the room. Obviously, I'm a crazy person, and this is all in my head. There's no way these little idiots walking around my park, clambering all over one another to get to the log flume ride, were at all worried about the unfolding space battle narrative I had placed around them. There's no way that it went any deeper than an algorithm that told the guests of my park not to visit my new ride area until I had lowered the price and developed it a little bit more. But either way, for someone like me who wanted to make it a practical learning experience about level design, it worked. Although it might seem like I was extending the metaphor to suit a video essay, I could gain a sense of pitfalls and effective strategies in level design from playing this game. The second lesson this game taught me about game design was something I had already suspected and actually seen in a few case studies. Balancing an ongoing game is basically putting out fires all over the place, all of the time. And ultimately, it's pretty much impossible to please everybody. The longer a game keeps going, the more problems will inevitably arise. I mentioned these little idiots complaining about everything in my theme parks, and you know, that's pretty much the gist of it. They complained about the litter that they themselves caused. So I hired more janitors. The janitors didn't clean it, so guests kept complaining. I sent the janitors to training and upped their pay so that they'd get to the rubbish. And finally they cleaned it. Then, guests started complaining that the toilets weren't clean because now the janitors were only cleaning up the rubbish and not cleaning the toilets. I changed their shift rotations to fix both. Suddenly, the guests started littering in a different area where I just built a new ride. I put down more bins! The janitors were too busy to empty the bins because of the aforementioned littering and toilet issues. Guests started complaining that the park wasn't clean. God, do they ever stop whining? Do you know who these guests sound like? Gamers. Fix this bug. This game is garbage. We're deploying a hotfix for this bug. Fix gets put out as quickly as possible to alleviate player anger. New bug as a result of the fix causes more complaining. Fix the new bug, this game sucks farts. Slows down to make sure the next fix doesn't cause a new bug again. Oh my god, why is this fix taking so long? You managed to get the fix for the last bug out so quickly? Oh my god, I would hate to be a developer of a live service game. It's just constant work to improve something and getting nothing but criticism from the assholes you're making it for, who bought the game during a sale and won't even buy your DLCs because this game is so bug-ridden. Again, not necessarily a game design lesson that was supposed to be in this game, but definitely a reason I think anyone who pesters and complains to developers on social media should 100% be made to play a game like this. It flips the perspective of developer and player very effectively. Alright, so I've said a few times now that there is no way this game was supposed to be viewed as a game design simulator, but what is absolutely no coincidence is that whenever I focused on fun in one of my theme parks above everything else, the various minutiae and objectives I had to look out for completed themselves. Let me explain. So, this is a ride menu. It lets you look at all the different aspects of a ride. Its rating, its revenue, its wear and tear, when you can rebrand it. This is the economy menu. This shows you every single thing that has an impact on your theme park's bottom line. This is the staff tab. This lets you see all of your theme park staff, their happiness level, their skill level. You can read their minds if you want. You can set their rotations and increase their workload. Boy, oh boy, there sure is a lot of stuff to distract you from making a theme park in this game about making theme parks, huh? With games being what they are today, making them must feel like a total nightmare sometimes. You've got to make them bigger, deeper. You've got to increase the number of systems and quests. You've got to make sure the writing is good and the gameplay fits its themes. My god, it must be exhausting. It must be very easy to get caught up in all the potential criticisms and corporate demands and lose sight of the really cool video game concept you had originally. So much of the time I'll praise a game and even make a video about one if it drops all of that nonsense and it focuses on being fun first and foremost. Theme parks beyond everything need to be more fun for their guests than not. And video games, beyond everything, need to be more fun for their players than not. When I let myself be creative and have fun in the experience of creating something in Planet Coaster, my park rating started going up. Objectives started completing themselves organically without me having to focus on them. I think the most valuable lesson this game could potentially teach any aspiring game designers is that fun has to come first. And yes, it's very easy for me to say that. But I mean, look no further than a game where developers love playing what they've made. Among Us, Hunt Showdown, Fall Guys, Rocket League. These were all passion projects that studios stuck with because they loved playing their product, and they knew that other people would too, even if it took a while to find their spotlight. If those games aren't a lesson in creating something, I don't really know what is. Thank you so much for watching. This is the part of the video where you get to head down to the comments and tell me how pish poor my theme park creations are. Go on, you know you want to. Hey, while I've got you here though, let me tell you about Podcoping. It's our monthly podcast that takes you through the month's biggest video game news, so if you struggle to keep up, it's an easy and digestible rundown of all the things you need to stay in the know. We also end each episode with a random subscriber shoutout from here on our YouTube channel, so head on over to see if this episode's random subscriber could be you. Thanks again so much for watching. Remember to give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button and the bell icon to keep up with everything we upload, including some funny shorts. Tune in next time.